Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Echeconnee, Wisconsin, riding a CST Tires SSI decals traveling back Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV Motocross National Champion, number 25, Cody Jensen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, episode 175 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our more than 298,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 141 countries in which you are listening, and this is our Digging Deep Echeconnee Race Review Show. After helping us preview this event last week, Walsh Race Craft's legendary Mike Walsh is back to give us the inside scoop and share everything he saw at Georgia's round 2 for the pros and the amateur season opener. Brian Jenkins also returns for another race review episode, so you know we're diving into plenty of ATV motocross past, present, and future in this one. But first, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew, thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, and Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing, our choice when it comes to case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com. Support all the great companies that support Austin for any products that fall through the cracks. Click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. It's that time of year, a brand new season is in full swing, and it's time to load up for what you need for the summer of 2026. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. Shout out to all of our donors, and if you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated, of course. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, you can leave us a rating or a review on iTunes and Spotify, because that helps us out a bunch too. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up, it's sideways, and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
All right, guys, we're here for our Echeconnee review show here on the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. Hard to believe that we already got 2 rounds in the books, and we have an absolutely fire cast for you tonight here for this one. Both of these guys are going to be brought to you by SSI Decals tonight. Ian and the crew at SSI have been with us at Digging Deep from the very start. I want to thank them for another year being on board here at Digging Deep. So both of these guests coming to you, brought to you by SSI Decals tonight. First of which, you know him as Mr. Wheels Up himself, a fixture on these race review podcasts, Mr. Brian Jenkins rejoining us tonight. Brian, thanks for being here, pal.
No problem. I enjoyed getting the call, and I always look forward to these and getting to rehash what happened and bench race. So especially now tonight, we got somebody else that's fresh. So this is going to be exciting.
Exactly. Yeah, you hinted at it already. We gave Billy the invite. He said he couldn't be here. He had to pick up his new four-wheeler. So I told him that's a great excuse not to be here for the review show. So pretty excited about that. Yeah, rejoining us this week for this show after a can't-miss appearance on our preview episode. You know him as the front man at Walsh Race Craft. Mr. Mikey Walsh rejoining us tonight for our Echeconnee review show. Mikey, welcome back, pal. Thanks so much for being here. Always love having you on the show, buddy.
Absolutely. Love it. Can't wait to get into it. The race was awesome. And thanks for the invite. Always here to help. Absolutely.
So, Mikey, we're going to lean on you here to set the scene. So fill us in. I mean, it looked like the turnout was solid. Amateur season opener. Looked like the turnout was solid. Day looked beautiful. Track looked prime. Tell us about it.
Yeah, the day was perfect. I mean, the dirt was perfect. You know, you had the pro show, the amateur show. There's a lot of fast amateurs. The amateurs had their stuff together. A bunch of classes with a lot of people in it, and it was great to see. You know, of course, the pros were going fast, and you all know that. And and everything like that. But amateurs were real cool to see. And I really enjoyed those age classes. That was fun.
So here's the deal. I mean, they tightened the schedule a little bit this year, like they trimmed a little of the fat, I would say, with 5 or 6 classes. And I mean, it looks kind of like they did a really good job. Like you just said, like some of those classes were really full. And I thought that looked really promising.
Yeah, they really were. Everybody's program just looked, good. I mean, there was nice haulers. There was, good people in the pits. Saw a lot of faces. Saw some people riding that I didn't even know rode our stuff. So that was really cool. And Patrick Edwards had the start there, which was kind of a surprise for people, which they didn't do much with it, and they really didn't have it out that much. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't even there, but Vinnie Mofford had brought that down, and I think they were going to have a rider, Jet, ride it, but that didn't work out the way they wanted to. But it was just great, and they got such a great start there with the concrete and the expanded wire over it, with the tread there. And, you dump the clutch. It seems like you're either stalling or you're going forward. I mean, you got to be on the clutch there. So it was not one of these deals where you're coming off the concrete and you're spinning and you're looking for traction, or you got sand or you got moisture. None of that. I mean, I was listening to some of the starts and they were just boom, so it's a nice facility, man. I mean, who does? And Donnie the Bulldog Banks was there, and that was awesome. Banger was announcing. And I brought a bunch of people from my shop, and they all had a killer time. I mean, my mom was there, my brother's son Wolfie was there, Dan was there, my machinist Paul was there, my engineer. He's 81. So yeah, we just had a great time. We all rode together, and we did some stupid stuff on the way up. Did a couple little videos, and it was great. It was a great show.
That's awesome, man. That's the epitome of like what we're all about here, and the whole family atmosphere. You guys have been doing it forever, still going to the races all these years later, man. It's an awesome thing. And to have Walsh Race Craft at the races, especially the whole posse, right? Like you guys don't get to do that like you once did as much.
Right.
That's pretty damn cool. Brian, I think that you kind of outlined this is probably the only one that you were going to miss, right? Or that's the plan anyway.
Yeah, that's the plan. Was this was the only one that I wasn't going to be able to attend. So hopefully that's the goal, and I can stick to it.
Yeah. From back home, from afar, give me your biggest thing that stood out to you from the weekend at Echeconnee to kick things off here for us.
Can I ask a question real quick to Mike, since Mike was there? Because one of the biggest surprises, just first take, was, and some of the first responses I had from the track that people kind of messaged me or I'd seen was the track didn't have any jumps from what I understand. And I was kind of taken back by that. So I didn't know if something happened or.
Yeah, apparently a fellow on a dirt bike died there last year. So they ended up taming the track way down. They got rid of the bigger jumps there. There was only a few jumps. There was the big tabletop heading down into the finish line tabletop. There's a couple doubles and but nothing gnarly, nothing like it was where they had the big triple in the middle and stuff. None of that stuff there. And it was specifically done like that for safety, is what I understand.
So did it actually slow them down or did it speed things up?
I think it made it harder because you had no resting time. You're either whoops, but they did look like they added a bunch of red clay. It was still a sandy base, but I mean, you really had a beautiful looking red soil. And I think it made it harder on the riders because there was just no downtime.
Okay, I was just curious. I wanted some background there to see if that was some game plan of slowing them down or something with the series, or if that was something particular specific to that track.
Did any of you see, we've been celebrating the 20 years of Echeconnee, right? So we've been sharing the 2006 races. Did you see some of the jumps at that track back then? Oh my God. Some of the triples and quads that they had those guys trying to jump in the sand back then with giant faces. Like I couldn't believe it, man. What a stark difference between, 2006 and 2026. It was insane.
Well, you've opened up a gnarly topic there, because I always go back to saying, man, was I just a big chicken back then? No. But I just feel the tracks were just gnarlier and the equipment was worse. So now we have way better equipment and we have more raceable tracks.
Right. I remember some of those early 2000s races, tracks, nationals and stuff, and especially like being like a younger person. So like if I was on a Blaster or a 300EX and I'm like, man, like everything, like the things, shit that we had to hit pinned just to barely make it, man. Like there's nothing like that anymore. Not to be the, you know, the walked up to school uphill both ways, but a little bit different nowadays.
I can tell you a quick story about this. It's fitting actually that Mike's here. So the first national that I can remember that we traveled to do way back in the day would have been Echeconnee. And, you know, of course, I'm so excited. This is the first national I'm at, you know, a bunch of people there, you know, big names are there. And I'll never forget, I made sure to go up to the line. You know, pros, you couldn't get close to the line, at least back then. But Pro-Am, you could walk right up and, you know, they're doing their burnouts. They're getting ready, you know, to go. And I'll never forget, Mike was standing there with somebody that had a fresh build. Like it was amazing. I'm talking Dirt Wheels magazine, beautiful, perfect, everything. And I can't remember who it was, but he put his feet down and was doing a burnout and his chain broke and went through the cases and the oil dropped all over the concrete. And Mike stood there and I remember he looked down, he goes, well, that's no good. And he like scratched his head and pushed the bike back. And I remember thinking, oh my God, you know, all that work and all that time. And like, I didn't have a bike that was even near that nice or had those components. And I was devastated for him. Yeah. But that was my first take. The first thing I seen before I even got on the track. And then when I got on the track, when I said about Echeconnee, just, you know, breaking your spirits and, you know, your dreams slowly flutter away. I never, ever quit. I mean, you know, local races, that was Michelle and I's thing was always, we never gave up. You know, we'd always fight to the bitter end. Echeconnee was the first track that I was so humbled. The last lap, I remember I was like, and this would have been back when like ATV Foreplay had their team. And I remember Tom was there and a bunch of guys, local guys, you know, that rode for him. And I'll never forget, like the last lap, I just held my line and was like waving people by. I had literally nothing left. I couldn't hold on. And I was so devastated and felt horrible. And I'd never done that before or since, but it beat me down. So that was my first experience of Echeconnee. So yeah, going way back to, you know, just expand on you guys' story of.
What year was that?
You know what, Mike, that had to have been like, I'm going to narrow it down. I think it was 2005 or 2006. Because we did the WPSA in 2007. And up to that point, we didn't even know about the nationals till like 05 or 06. I think it was 05. And we went to a one here or there. And I was on my Cannondale. So I know it was in that time period that I went with my one friend, Jason Farrar. And he was on a Cannondale as well. We went. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to spoil your, I don't know if this was your first year or not, but I found a clip yesterday of you at Echeconnee 2006 that I'm going to share this evening as a teaser. So
no way.
Stay tuned. I kind of wanted it to be a surprise, but I had to say something now. That's awesome.
It was funny. And you know something so funny. When we left there, we go back to the hotel. We found a little hotel where all the AMA, like the referees stayed and everything. And it was cheap. It was close. And we go back there and I'll never forget. I think Michelle that year, she wasn't actually able to race. She had surgery. She had like gallstones or something. And Jason and I had raced. And I'll never forget the look on her face when we got to the hotel. Like we couldn't lift our arms. And she was like, how about you two go take, you know, you guys take the showers first and I'll go last. And I'll never forget, Jason went in to take a shower and he came back. When I went into the shower, when I came out, he passed out on the floor in front of the air conditioner. Because, of course, you know, we're from up north. It was like 30 degrees at home. And down there, it was like 90. So it was such a shock.
Love it, man. Okay, Brian, biggest takeaway from the weekend, biggest surprise. Give me something.
You know what? The young guns. I was very impressed. And first and foremost, I got to say, I'm very, very happy and I'm thrilled for the team. For Brandon to be able to bounce back like he did. Like, you know, we had talked about that last episode. And when I listened to that, I thought, man, I hope people didn't take that too harshly because I wasn't slamming him or the team. I genuinely am a fan of all these guys and want them all to do so well and have, you know, straight up races. And I felt horrible that I didn't want him to get coined as that, just bad luck guy and always having something. Like, he deserves to be able to have equipment that he can go out there and finish a race and do well. And I was so excited for them to bounce back and have that race for him to do that. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like not only with his spirits, but the entire team was a whole change in attitude, perspective, and I think even like the whole season moving forward. So that was probably the biggest take, was Brandon being able to go out and ride the race that we all wanted to see him have the ability to do. And then the young guns, like I said, I'm so impressed with Joey Norris and Noah Arnall. Those guys, all of them that came in did really well, but those guys are just on it, and they seem to push each other and are in good positions. They find themselves in good positions, not just off the start, but on the track a lot. So that's impressive to me.
Yeah, you hit on some of the biggest topics from the weekend. I mean, we see, spoiler alert, Joel puts together another great day. Brandon had a big time rebound ride, and a lot of those young guns really shined. Qualifying, I guess, kind of went exactly as you'd kind of expected. Joel's fastest, Brandon second, Max Lindquist is third, Mason Jackson fourth, and Zach Decker, kind of the big five we've been talking about. The big five was the five quickest in qualifying, and then jumping right to Moto 1. So Joel Hetcher gets the whole shot, Brandon Hogue is in second, and that's how they would stay. Spoiler alert for the rest of this moto. There was a point there, Mike, though, that it looked like Max Lindquist was going to make a run at, and he did make a run at Brandon Hogue for second. And it seemed like that battle was maybe, kind of going to happen. And then it never really came to fruition there in that first moto. But there was a number of laps there where Max was catching Brandon and never got to a second, I don't think. Got somewhere between a second and a second and a half, and it never formulated. And then something later in the race seemed like Max lost touch with Brandon a little bit, but good race for those guys. 1, 2, 3, the big three, 1, 2, 3, but never actually culminated in a battle there for a second, Mike.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to that story. You asked Brian what was his biggest takeaway, and my biggest takeaway was Max's performance in the first moto. I mean, we all expect things out of Max, but let's not forget how fast, when we talked about Brandon and his riding ability, and Brandon is an absolute shredder. So I'm not taking anything away from Max. Max usually has the late moto speed, but he doesn't always have the beginning speed. And what I saw from Max was huge in that first moto because he was reeling him in. And what happened was there was kind of after you go on the whole shot corner, you kind of got that straightaway there, and you got that left-hander, and then you head back. Well, on that straightaway, after the whole shot corner and that left-hander there was like 3 moguls, and they were kind of descending down. Okay. And Max was hitting it so hard, he was like just, boner airing it, and he wheel tapped the second one, and it jarred his back. Oh. And I don't know how many people know or don't know that, but right then and there, that was it. I mean, he was in survival mode after that, and that's where you saw Brandon start to gap back out on him. But I think Brandon was gonna have a problem.
It looked like it, but that all makes so much sense because Max was coming, and then all of a sudden something happened, and he lost multiple seconds almost per lap late in the moto. So that adds a bunch of context to what I thought I was seeing. I figured something must have happened, so that makes a ton of sense because you're exactly right. I mean, Max was coming like a freight train.
He was coming.
That moto. Yeah, for sure. What about Mason? Did Mason crash, Mike? Because it looked like something must have happened there. Something happened early because he had, he was on the comeback trail as the moto kind of played out.
Oh, he crashed. He crashed. He was in third. He was in third. So after the finish line, there was two there. After the finish line, there was an outside and an inside. He took the inside. It looks like he might have A-armed the berm. When I say that, he might have drug A-arm. I don't know. It happened real fast. It was in the opening laps, 1 or 2. Yep. And he cartwheeled it. But apparently he's been, battling with a few small injuries.
Yeah, a leg or a knee or an ankle or something.
Yes. So he was sucking it up and he was doing it well, but it was Echeconnee, like Brian said, Echeconnee got the best of him.
Dude, if you're battling some stuff, the last place you want to go is Echeconnee.
So two of my fantasy guys, two of my guys were kind of, we could say, under the weather, Max and my heavy hitters. So, Walsh Race Craft didn't have the exact day they were looking for, but, Joel still held it down. So, and, they still did well. I mean, Max still got the big 4 overall. So
those guys fought through. They did for sure. Okay. So in that first moto, the other, we kind of touched on the top 3 at this point, our big hitters. I'll get to what maybe stood out to me the very most on the day. And there's a lot to choose from. There's some pretty big moment shining rides here. So Zach Decker in that first moto, he found himself in 5th for a lot of the moto. He passes into 4th and has a problem late in the moto, gives up the spot, ends up finishing 5th. But who on their bingo card would have had Adam Ulrich finishing 4th in that first moto? Man, the dude deserves so much credit. You're talking about somebody who, about that 5th, about that 10th, 9th, 10th spot would have been about the best he's ever done in a pro race. And that would have been awesome. I remember highlighting some rides late last year where he was around the top 10 and he deserved major praise for doing so. And he straight up put himself in good position early in the moto and ran inside the top 5, ran 4th for most of the moto, drops to 5th, gets back to 4th at the end with what happened to Zach. Brian, again, I don't know who had it on their bingo card, but Adam Ulrich finishing 4th, man, might be the biggest shocker of the whole season when it's all said and done. That's unreal.
He's been so solid though. He has been solid.
But 4th? No way. Fourth blew me away, but he's been progressively just clawing away, and he's had moments where he's been in a good position. And I don't know if he was just pushing too hard or excited about where he's at. I mean, you guys would know better than me, and especially at that level, what happens. And I know what happens at where I'm at in my classes when I get all geeked out and excited, and push. And I thought, wow, if he just can take a deep breath and just ride that race and not worry about anything, this is going to be his best race we've seen to date. And it ended up being that way. I was super happy for him. I thought that was great. That was showcasing that, he's definitely got the talent. He's got the skills, and he was able to hold on, because if there was anybody that can come out of that weekend, or at least that moto, because I know he had some issues the next moto, but that moto, he had the best of Echeconnee, which there's not too many people that can walk away and say, I took that one, that one's for me. Yeah. Unreal, man. Unreal. He deserves so much credit. I was happy for him too, because he was in a really good position and had that, I think, machine expire at Decker's in, the 3rd and final moto. So he was in a really good position. So credit to him. So that was one of the things, man, that was my biggest takeaway from the weekend, was Adam Ulrich finishing 4th in that first moto there at Echeconnee. I don't know. And Mike, you might have had eyes on it, Mike, but I don't know exactly what happened to Zach late in that moto.
Zach crashed.
He did. Okay.
But he got back and he lost, I don't know, 10 seconds or something
like that.
Whatever it was. Yep. But I mean, speaking of Ulrich, he rode phenomenally. And Noah Arnell rode a solid race too. Those two guys are not to be looked over. They're pretty solid.
Well, and this is one of the things that we'll get into how the whole day plays out. But Noah Arnold has found a way to basically be, and we're only, 5 motos in with the Triple Crown and qualifying, but he's basically been there's the big 5, and then there's Noah Arnold. He's been 6th in every moto, every qualifying session, almost every whole shot. That's where he's been. And as a rookie, I don't care who's in the class. As a rookie, it cannot be overstated how impressive that is.
It's very impressive. Yeah. It's right there.
And it's funny, and Brian has highlighted this in the shows that we've done already, but in every moto, and this moto was no different. They were fighting for 6th and 7th in this moto. And I think he ended up getting passed by Joey late in the moto, but him and Noah Arnold and Joey Norris find each other in every single moto, just like they've done since,
they do
mini riders.
Yes. And I keep saying Noah is flying under the radar. He puts himself in the right position off the starts. He finds himself in good positions coming through the turn and positioning himself well at the beginning of the moto, and then is able to ride out. And I keep having a sneaky suspicion that he's just staying there. I don't think he's let it hang out yet. I don't know that the tracks just aren't, his comfort zone, or if he's just trying to get these in and learn and take it all in and then pick and choose when he's going to let it all hang out. But I just feel like Noah's solid, and he's not saying anything. There's nothing out there. He's just right there, just waiting. You know what I mean? He's the shark in the water.
But I look at the Joey Norris and Noah Arnold situation, like they could use that to such an advantage for each other, because the other person's the benchmark. So like we all have raced those people too, where it's like, I know I can go that person's speed, like even if you're very competitive, but like you want to beat that person, you feel like you should be by that person. Again, like that's the benchmark. I know I can go that fast. Like to just have that small carrot out in front of you, like I'm racing that dude. I'm racing this whole class, but I'm racing that dude specifically. Like I think that they can use that to each other's advantage. To be, if those two want to battle each other in every moto all year, they're going to be like 5th and 6th in every moto all year. That's how it's going to play out. And that's a great.
Yeah, absolutely. On a side note, touching off that, we didn't really talk about Damien as of yet, but I do know, because I personally work with Damien's team, I do know that he was very adamant about being there with Noah. Okay. Because they were the two rookies and they were past top Pro-Am guys. And I know that he expected, just like you said, to be running with Noah, and at Deckers, it seemed like he was pretty much there, a little bit off, coming back from broken collarbone. Yeah. Miss Moto 2. We'll see what they, what they end up doing after this. So like you said, these people are feeding off of each other, healthy competition. I know, and Joey, I mean, to touch on Joey, I mean, he came out whole shotted and led. Excellent job. I mean, excellent job. I mean, he rode, he rode like a pro. I mean, he rode like he was born to be there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all those guys, all those young kids are touching on. And I think we talked about it with Billy and Brian on the last review show, Mike, but Rookie of the Year is a big deal. Like Rookie of the Year to me is a really big deal. And I told those guys, like as a past Rookie of the Year, like I'm always conscious of that. So the fact that we have such a great group of young riders, you always want to be the top rookie, and the fact that this group is so good, that's going to be such a fun battle to watch down the stretch. I can't wait for this season to play out that way, but so highly competitive for these young guys.
Yeah. That's a win within a series. That's its own personal trophy. Yeah. Mentally and physically.
Yeah, 100%. So you already started to dabble into Moto 2. So Joey Norris rips another hole shot like we saw at Deckers, leads early. And very quickly, we kind of see the battle we wanted to see, at least at this race, with Brandon Hogue putting himself in good position. They almost like 2-for-1 special. Joey Norris, Brandon on the left, Joel on the right. They go around Joey to move up into the 1 and the 2 spot. And Brandon gets out in clean air for a little while. He leads about a lap. And then we saw a full send. And I'm sure we've all seen the footage at this point that the series, and I think Rip It Up Films shared, but the full send that Joel launched out into the lead next to Brandon, man, that's legendary stuff, I would say.
100%. What did you think of that, Brian?
Wow. Joel wasn't trying to play around like he did down there at Deckers and get, I guess, swallowed it into the pack and then have to come back up and catch everyone. And Max kind of distanced himself. He was making a pass right away and trying to establish dominance and just stretch his legs. And I was really surprised that he did that, to be honest with you, that early. But I guess, Joel does Joel things, and he's seen an opportunity and he literally pounds. So that was very impressive for him to make that move and pull the way he did. And I felt like Brandon, I was hoping that he'd latch on to him when that happened. I was hoping that he wouldn't take that as just like, oh man, there goes Joel, and just kind of settle in and let him go. I was happy to see him tag on and really roll with him there.
So I love when, and this is something that Billy has said a number of times, but I love when we get these situations where Joel can flex his muscles on like what he's capable of, even if it's just for a moment, because it's not always required, for us to see Joel really pull something out. So the fact that you could see in that moment, he's like, I'm getting this lead at all costs.
A motivated Joel.
That was cool to see, Mikey.
Yeah. Well, and going to that, I mean, it's like we talked about last episode, when everybody was talking about how how close Brandon kept Joel at Joel's training facility. And I said, yes. But if you look at what happened to Brandon in Moto 2, where he stayed in like sixth, and you see what happened when Joel came out in sixth, he slashed his way to the front very quickly. And it was the same thing. Joel just has that retard speed. I mean, you're got a gear
the other guys don't have.
Yeah. I mean, and he doesn't use it. And, I had made the statement to a few of the colleagues. I said, all Joel has to do for the next 3 years is go as slow as he possibly can. That's what you do. You don't push it. You have it in the bag, and you don't hurt the bike. You don't hurt the motor. You don't hurt your body. You bring this thing in professionally, and I think like you said, we saw what Joel was capable of. Now, can Brandon run it with Joel? Yeah. I mean, Brandon's a phenomenal rider. I mean, I have tons of respect for his riding. He's amazing, but is he on Joel's level? I mean, of course he is. He's the number 2 guy, but not quite where Joel's a 6-time champion, or, it's a big deal.
There's a reason why we think of Joel kind of by himself. Yeah. There's every single person in the sport, probably including Joel, wants him to get challenged a little bit. But, right. I mean, as everyone wants to be challenged, you want to be pushed. Yeah. That's what pushes you to be your best. Yeah. That being said, and Brandon probably is the number 1 challenger. Somewhere between him and Max is the number 1 challenger. That being said, to put them in Joel's league as guys that have podiumed, double-digit times versus Joel, who has won 78 times. It's apples to oranges. I'm sorry, it is. Yeah. But I love
What's the record? You would know what the record is for wins?
Well, Joel's setting the record every week.
Well, even over cross country?
I don't know about cross country. I don't know.
Cross country, I think Walker's about 77, 78.
So we're right at about the line. So
right.
Yeah, the few things, and we talked about this, that Joel have on the radar is obviously getting to 8 titles and, eventually hopefully 9.
Right.
I think that the 88th win will be a cool thing for him.
Oh yeah.
And, and that'll be, that would be next
celebration,
year, presumably. And he wants to get to 100 overall wins before this whole thing is over. And I mean, that could be in conjunction with a potential 9th title. It could be that season when that happens, depending on how, the next few years play out here. But not to get too far ahead of ourselves. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Mikey, about Moto 2, something happened to Lindquist early. Now, I guess I don't know if it was back related, but it seemed like he must have had a get off or got stuck with somebody, or something must have happened early for Max.
No, he was hurt.
So he fought back. So he started at the back of the pack and fights his way all the way to finish 7th in the moto.
Yeah.
So that
he came out,
man. Gutty effort.
He came out. Now, I don't know the complete breakdown of the whole shot and first lap deal, but I think he was trying to basically get out safe, ride, see how he felt.
Gotcha.
And he knew it was a long moto. And start picking people off to what the best of his ability. I don't know what he finished, like 7th.
Well, 7th in the moto, and then ends a 4th overall, like you said.
Yeah.
That's given the circumstances, man. That's as good as a podium.
Well, I went over to talk to him after the moto, and I was talking to his dad, and his dad's like, he's still stuck on the bike, and his hands are still glued to the bars. He's basically not moving, but he wasn't. He was in the back, but he was feeling really rough, and I talked to Max on text briefly after the moto, and he's pretty, I don't want to say, beat up, but he's pretty beat up. He's got to rest. He's got to heal up. You know how it is when you tweak your back.
Oh, dude.
He's got to readjust. He's got to see the, I don't know. I'm not speaking for him, but he's going to have to just get back to it. Dude, you know what I mean?
We've all been there. And again, Echeconnee is a major factor. We have all been there to the point where it's like, I don't know if I'll ever walk right again. We've all been there.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that definitely, like I said, gives us some context there with Max. Super gutty effort to think that he goes 7th in this moto, fights forward throughout the moto, finishes 7th, and ends up 4th overall. That's pretty darn impressive. Brian, in this one, as it kind of plays out very early on, we start to see that things may very well be aligning, and Max having this issue related to the situation. But Zach Decker looks like he's going to be in position to go back-to-back podiums here, and that's exactly what happens. He finds his way up to 3rd. A 5.3 eventually is good enough for a 3rd place position, his 2nd podium of his career, going back to back after starting the season with a podium. Masterful effort in that second moto, man. He ran 3rd kind of throughout by himself, put himself in great position, stayed out of all the carnage, and ends up going back to back podium finishes. Pretty impressive for Zach.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I think, Zach's a good kid. He puts in work. He's been doing all the right things. So, for him to finish how he did, I really wasn't surprised. I kind of expected it from him. The one thing, I know we're talking Moto2 now. What happened at the beginning? Because wasn't there like some carnage at the beginning? Was there some tango ups? Is that where like Mason and Ulrich had exactly some issues? Because I didn't see it, but obviously we're talking about it now after the fact.
That's exactly what happened. Those two got stuck together on the opening lap. Now we also had Max way in the back. That's why I didn't know if there was another situation.
Yeah.
I thought it was Max. When I seen it, it was about at the 3/4 of the way on the lap. They got stuck in the bottom corner there, and I thought it was Max, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're exactly right on what happened there.
Okay.
Yeah. So those two guys get stuck together. So Mason now is in a situation where he has a kind of a nightmare day, and he's not feeling that great.
Well, he was hurt for sure. I talked to Tim after.
Okay. Yeah. So he gets stuck in this, gets stuck in this pile up. First moto, he's got that get off. He's not feeling well. Like you said, he's hurt. So not an ideal day for Mason. So that's kind of how his day plays out. He was the next one I was going to touch on. And then that's also related to my other note I had in that second moto was with Adam Ulrich. We see amazing first moto, right? 4th. And they're off the quads, getting the quads unstuck, him and Mason. And he had to be thinking, man, you got to be kidding me. But he ends up remounting and making the best of his day. But yeah, that's what happened with those two guys. And that was really, really kind of tied up a lot of the notes for that moto. And then the other guy that I'd like to hit on, and we'll hit on all of them, because Noah ends up putting together a really good moto too. He ends up in the top 5 in that second moto. Joey ends up 4th in the second moto. Really good ride by those guys. But Wani, in his rookie debut in the pro class, ends up running 5th for most all of the moto and ends up falling to 6th, gets passed by Noah Arnold, another rookie, ends up finishing 6th, but pretty impressive ride by Juan, who we know is probably going to shine in the sand and in the rough conditions of Echeconnee. But I don't want to just brush over it like it was expected, because in your rookie debut, running 5th for most of the moto, finishing 6th, 8th overall eventually, man, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was a great ride by him. And his program, I mean, he's got, for being from Argentina, they come with guns blazing, man. They got a gorgeous program, definitely nice equipment there. I seen him in 5th and I was smiling. I was like, because, he's one of our guys. And
guy. Yeah.
Yep. And he's a Team Mech guy, and Mech's been, with Bird, and that's been a history there. But Wani did really amazing, and he did get past. He was getting pretty tired there, at the end. But hey, to still finish 6th.
But a 25-minute moto at Echeconnee is like a 50-minute moto anywhere else.
Right. Yeah. And I know I don't want to like jump over Wani, but I just thought of Cale Deal. He had for coming off the couch, he did pretty darn good.
We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. Do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ 450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATVMX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ 450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV National Champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ 450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ 450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ 450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors, as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best-looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV Motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Off-Road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion Top Fuel drag racer Clay Milliken. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at SSIDecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you? So let's go over the overall, because then we can kind of touch on all the guys that we haven't touched on at length already. So obviously we know Joel goes 1-1, 78th win of his professional career. We talked about that. Brandon 2-2 on the day, 17th podium finish of his career. So credit to Brandon and the Australia racing crew. That was a good bounce back race for them. Zach goes back to back, and we didn't get to hear Mikey talk about Zach a ton, but back to back for him, 5-3 on the day, back to back podiums. Man, he's got to be feeling, and Mikey, I'm sure you talked to those guys. They're Walsh guys.
Yeah.
But Zach going podium, 2 podiums back to back to start his season. Can't really imagine much of a better start to the season for Zach.
Yeah, Zach, I'm close with Kevin. I'm close with Jason, the whole crew. You know, when you're with someone, you can feel the energy. I felt positive energy over there. We talked. I didn't stay a whole long time. Zach's always super nervous, and I always tell Zach, I'm like, you know what, Zach? It's not going to do you any good. You need to be as positive as you can possibly be, because you can do this. You know, you can do this. And we talked about how Joel and Zach fed off each other a little bit when they trained together. And here Zach backs it up. Basically, the deal is Zach knew Echeconnee was going to be tough. And he knew if he could get out of Echeconnee on the podium, that was going to make him believe that he was ready to take on the rest of this 2026 season. Mm-hmm. So let's just say he's pretty confident right now. and happy.
We all wanted to see him do it, though. Like we all wanted to see him do it, and I'll let Brian jump in there, but we all wanted to see him. And I think some people were trying to frame it like, I was saying, he only did it at his track because it's Decker training facility. And that was not it at all.
No.
That being said, I think even for him, I'm sure, and I think he probably said as much. I didn't hear what he said after the motos, but I'm sure he probably said as much. It's even a mental hurdle for him to go do it at a different racetrack than his own racetrack. That's just something we would all tell ourselves. So then to go do it at Echeconnee at one of the gnarliest tracks that there is, and we talked about this, as soon as you do it once, now the whole evaluation changes, because now, and I've been there, not in the pro class, but in every other class, where once you've stood on that podium, now it's like, that's my podium. Like when they're doing interviews at the podium, I should be one of the ones up there talking. That's just how it feels. That's the psyche of one of these racers. And like I said, we'll talk to Brian about it, but Zacho is for sure thinking about, hey man, okay, let's go do it again at Ironman.
Like I said, great family. I'm a huge fan. He's been putting in the work. Bottom line, I wanted to touch on that. I'm glad you said that about how, some people were coining what we were talking about as a certain way, it seemed like, and that wasn't the case at all. No. It's everybody can go there and ride. That's hands down. We're not, any of us trying to belittle or slam or put a negative
calling it his home track is not offensive.
His name's on the track. He literally said that too. So look, we get it. Okay, everybody can ride. That's great. I'm super pumped for him. He did well, and I've been a fan since he's been on that hybrid. That Gen 2 Walsh. So all the way up through, and he's been successful. He's won races. He's got that motivation and that momentum to be up there. Now he's doing it in the pro class. Now he's finally stayed healthy enough to experience that, to have the success, know what it feels like, and want it more, just like you said. And I think he's perfectly capable of that. And I think he can go faster with that confidence, like Mike's saying he's building. Watch out. I mean, Zach's a contender. I mean, we've seen it. We know it. I think he has more speed to offer. I really do.
I just love that he saw it through. I mean, the road has not been easy for him. And there's been some giant injuries that would have chased a lot of people away. And this pro class, and we've seen it, it's a tale as old as time. This pro class will break you. And there are guys that only race, maybe it's a year, maybe it's less than a year, whatever the case, the pro class will break you. And the pro class could have broken Zach, and it didn't. And now he's seen it through, and he's made it to the podium, and he's become a top 3 and a top 5 regular. And now he's done it at another track, so nobody can ever say that he just did it at Decker training facility. It's fucking awesome. The dude deserves so much credit. It's killer. I give them so much credit, because it would have been a lot easier to quit, Mike.
What you're saying, that femur break was whatever happened off that jump. No, nobody will ever say exactly what happened, but they did a lot of research on that. Really couldn't come. But anyways, that femur break, Zach had to go through a lot. Okay. And even if he wasn't a racer, just as a person he had a bone growing out the side of his leg. So,
Lord.
Just to get through all the stuff, the wrist breaks, look, we all raced out there. We all know that the injuries could be, mounting, major things. The risk is major, but Zach, you're right. You're 100% right. And you really can't give the guy enough credit. And, and Zach has always had speed, like on the Walsh Hybrid Gen 2. He was a monster up through Pro-Am. He's always had speed, but I don't think he had that. He hasn't yet developed into that, I would say, the confidence level of maturing to be that guy who knows he can stand on that podium. And I think at Echeconnee, something might have happened. Zach might be on that podium. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great riders, that top 5, top 6 is a lot of great riders, but it's not going to be surprising here on out.
No, you're exactly right. It's probably the best way to frame it, is it's not going to be surprising anymore. Again, he did it at round 1. He's done it now at a different racetrack in the brutal sands of Echeconnee. It's not going to be a headline statement now when Zach Decker finishes on the podium.
Right.
That's credit to him. We talked about Max. Max goes 3-7, fourth overall. Gutty performance for him. We talked about Max. Joey Norris ends up fifth overall, 6-4 on the day. Joey ends up going fifth overall. So we talked about Joey a little bit. Credit to him. Another hole shot, man. That's awesome. And kind of talking about the fact that as you start to expect it, the more, hole shots you get, you run up front, you run, amongst the Joel Hetrick's and Brandon Hogues like he did for a moment there when they were 3 wide at Echeconnee. You do things like that and it's going to become more normal. It's going to become more expected and normal to get hole shots and run up front a little bit. I mean, he's going to think of himself as a top 5 guy here as we look to, some of the hard pack tracks and settling into this 2026 season. So Joey Norris is going to be fun to watch play out here. Noah Arnold, and I don't want to skip over, any of these guys too quickly, but Noah Arnold logs another good ride. We talked about him 6th overall, goes 7-5. This seems like 6 is kind of where he fits in right now, but he's finishing 5th in some motos. I think we saw that at Deckers as well. So yeah, Noah Arnold to start the season, he has had a leg up or a jump on the other rookies, but the battle for rookie of the year and the battle for being the top rookie in the series is going to be one to watch. Adam Ulrich ends up salvaging his day. So I started to say that. So career day, full stop, career day across the board. So 4th in that first moto. And Adam Ulrich ends up getting stuck with Mason Jackson's second moto, is able to claw his way up to 10th. And 10th is good enough just to beat out Juan Ondichu for 7th overall. So Adam Ulrich goes 4-10, 7th overall. Doesn't matter what the overall says. The 4th in the first moto, 7th overall.
Killer.
Absolutely stellar. Yeah, killer ride for him. Adam Ulrich had a day that he will never forget.
I think it's going to make him hungry.
I hope so.
Absolutely, man.
And we talked about this. We've talked about this in some of these shows now, but as the way the class is right now, I mean, I'm sure he's looking at the Noah Arnolds and the Joey Norrises and, thinking of himself right alongside those guys and maybe not quite as accomplished as those guys young in their young careers. But as he's like a junior, been in the pro class a few years now. You don't want the rookies coming in and beating you. And he kind of showed that in that first moto.
Yeah, he did. He held his own. That was a great ride. I mean, nobody can take that from him. I was happy to see it. Good for him. He deserves that. He's been working towards that for a long time.
Absolutely. So Adam Ulrich goes 7th overall in this one. Juan Ondichu, we talked about Wani, goes 9-6 for 8th overall. Good run for him, especially in that second moto. Looking forward to seeing what he's got in store for his rookie season here as he's now got that rookie debut under his belt. 9th overall, 8-8 for Mason Jackson. We talked about him. Hopefully he can get mended up a little bit, and he's going to have this break is going to help him. We got about a month break here, 3 weeks left now before we're going to end up heading up to Ironman and doing some racing there. So this little break is going to help some of these riders, and Mason Jackson is going to be one of those guys. 9th overall for him, not the day he wanted, but he survived it, got through it, and moving on, hopefully getting healthy and moving on to the rest of the series. Cale Deal, 10-9 on the day, 10th overall rookie debut for Cale.
One thing I want to add with Cale, I wanted to point this out, really cool, 488.
488, man.
488.
Yeah, that was cool. That
was sweet.
Real cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. I wanted to touch on that I was really excited and happy for him of all people to get that. So that was special.
Cale's a real humble, their family, the dad, they're good. They're just,
They're good people.
Right? There's a lot of good people out there, but they're kind of special. I don't think they're not taking it nearly as serious as some of these other people, but the kid has massive talent. And that's really where it comes in. I mean, they have good equipment. I don't know if it's the best equipment, but it's good equipment. But the kid can ride. And he's a rider, man.
Yeah, he fit right into the pro class, did super well, looked like he belonged, and ran inside the top 10 to finish top 10 in his rookie debut. And like you said, the AMA kind of cued me into the 488 thing a month ago or whatever the case may be, 2 months ago. That's a pretty cool thing to see the 488 in honor of Dane Molander back on the racetrack and be his buddy to be doing it. Pretty darn cool situation there. 11th overall, Marshall Smith, 12-11 on the day for Marshall. Heath Hanna I think he suffered at least a crash and maybe a mechanical too in this one. So he ends up 12th overall, 13-12 on the day. And then Damian Hubert, after a really good run at the opener, ends up 13th overall, 11th in the first moto, and I don't think was on the line for the second.
I think it was a DNS. I don't think he started.
Yeah. So that was one of my concerns. I actually shot you a message yesterday,
right,
Mikey, or the day before. Just wondering, because I didn't know. I just wanted to make sure he wasn't hurt. And I even had people messaging the Digging Deep page like, hey, is he okay? Like what happened at the start? Yeah. So my main concern was just making sure Damian was okay. It sounds like, they're making some decisions or whatever on their future maybe. But yeah, hopefully they see it through. We talked about how hard Echeconnee is, and it'll break anybody, man. And I would hope that the best is yet to come. But either way, the Hubert family and Damian's been super successful. Pro sport national champion last year. I mean, he's accomplished a bunch and is a great asset to the series, and what was or will be very much depending on what they do, but was one of the co-favorites for Rookie of the Year. So we'll see how this all plays out. Yeah. But Damian shined very bright. I believe 7th overall in his rookie debut at Deckers. So we'll see how it all plays out. But Damian Hubert making a name for himself in the sport, and hopefully it's not over.
Absolutely. And from Canada. I mean, it's the families. I mean, I really enjoy Mark. I hope we'll see what the future brings for the family. But the bottom line is exactly what you said. The kid can ride. He's had a great career as of so far. We don't know what the future holds, but it's been a success. Whatever they do, it's a success.
Yes. Whatever happens. Yeah. Yep. But you're exactly right. It was a success. Very few people make it to the pro class. Very few people finish in the top 10 in the pro class. Very, very, very few people win a national championship in a class as premier as pro sport. Very, very, very successful across the board. And I saw, I didn't know what happened with the DNS. And then I saw some of the things going on social media, and I'm like, man, just let's maybe pump the brakes. Let's not make a gut reaction. Pro class is gnarly. Echeconnee is gnarly as could be, but you belong out there. So,
and he's still hurt. You know what I mean? Like he still could probably be recovering, and that isn't the track to go hurt, because it normally hurts you worse.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. His training is not, I know his training is not where it needs to be. I mean, because of the broken collarbone. Exactly. How could it be?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and he even said that when I talked to him prior to Deckers, he had said, I don't have much time on the bike, but we're going to go there and give it a go. And he was really impressive, which speaks to his natural talent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's venture into the amateur stuff very briefly to talk about any amateurs that stood out. So in the Pro-Am class, Joey Norris gets the W there, 1-1. Noah Arnold finishes second. Heath Hanna finishes third in the Pro-Am class. Kind of cool because they're all pros. So that was a thing that so many people did my whole career, it feels like, and I was one of them. But there was, as you're transitioning into the pro class, by the time you were transitioning into pro, you were one of the guys in Pro-Am. And it's cool to see those guys, Joey Norris has shined in Pro-Am, won the national championship last year, back out there again this year. Noah Arnold, back out there as a guy who just about won the championship last year, was in contention in this class again. And Heath Hanna. And that's something that some of these young pros need, is to have that Sunday to really hang their hat on too. And maybe that's something that Hubert can do as well.
Yeah.
But that Pro-Am thing, even as a pro, Sunday can be a really big deal when you're a young pro rider, to be in the mix and racing throughout the pro class on Saturday and then competing for wins on Sunday. I mean, that's a really good place to be as a young
pro. Not to mention somebody like Heath, Heath had probably not the best showing that he, for the pro class, but he came out on Sunday, bounced back, and, he's got something now that he can go to the next round and hold his head high to say, I bounced back. I got the speed. I'm at the level I need to be. That was a great showing for him. And of course, Noah and Joey's out there trying to collect all them MJ5 checks. So he continued with the whole shots, just like he nabbed one in the pro class. So I was really happy for Joey to see that, and for him to get that on Sunday.
It goes the other way too, Mike. I mean, you can get your confidence by winning and being on the podium in Pro-Am, and then bring it to the pro class too.
Well, and like you said, you made a great point that there's the handful of pros in there. So we see what Joey did on in the pro class, we've seen him whole shot and lead and finish, you said fourth, right? The one moto.
Yep.
So Heath and Damien or whoever's racing in that Pro-Am class they're feeding off of that. They're like, and I know that I was watching lap times on that Pro-Am class. I wasn't there. I left for Sunday, but
yeah,
I watched Noah Arnell and I saw him not only trading laps with him, but he actually had a few laps that were quicker, I believe, in the mid-moto there than Joey Norris. So that is major. They're going to feed off of that confidence. They're going to say, hey, if Joey can lead a couple of laps, man, I could lead a couple of laps. So you've seen what Cody Gibson did in Pro-Am class. He didn't have a ton of
hand.
Right. He didn't have a ton of success in the pro class, but that Pro-Am class is a great class in its own. It takes its own special rider because it's a shorter moto and it's not just an endurance deal. It's like, man, you got to run every lap pinned.
The thing I love about Pro-Am so much is then you also have the opposite of what we're talking about here. You have the top amateur guys that they're able to see what the pro level is.
That's right.
You're in these guys, you're talking about Joey and you're talking about Noah and you're talking about some of these guys who are right around the top five. Like they're very close and running inside and finishing inside the top five. And you're seeing firsthand what that top five pro speed is like. And that helps, like you said earlier, you made a great comment about that helps the whole sport. That's a gauge of the whole sport. That's something that only helps the pro class. That helps ATV motocross as a whole. That just helps the bridge to the pro class. Instead of it feeling insurmountable, you're already seeing that speed and then slowly able to hopefully potentially get closer to that speed before you make your own pro debut. It's awesome.
Definitely building confidence, definitely. And that's what this is all about, man. It's one small double to that bigger double to that triple to that, you know what I mean? You're building that confidence. It's motocross, man. You got, and that, that's why a lot of this is mental.
There's a lot of fast young kids in that class that's getting to ride with those guys. So they're going to pick that speed up and, it's going to transfer over. They'll be, not just running Pro-Am, but hopefully those are our next pros real soon.
Oh, they will be for sure. After seeing the 13-man gate, I bet you next year it looks a lot different than this year.
Speaking about some of these fast young guys, pro sport, your overall in pro sport is Landon Korn, Andrix Bieland, and Siler Paduznak, all young guys, all guys that are on the come up, all guys that are, have been dominant amateurs at times throughout their careers, and guys that are definitely going to find themselves in the pro class. You talk about Andrix Bieland, and I don't want to jump over Landon Korn because it's a big deal to win pro sport, but Andrix Bieland and Siler Paduznak, two guys that were battling every single moto last year in the 250 class, now jumping right to pro sport and being on the podium. That is very notable too. Like that deserves its praise as well, because that is not to be taken lightly, put it that way.
I was able to watch some of that because I was on Sunday, on Saturday. And Saturday. Sorry, excuse me.
Yep.
And I never knew the Landon Korn guy, but I met his dad, and they ride our parts. Met his mom and obviously knew Beelan, and it was great watching this kid. This guy he looks like he belongs in like middle school. Like he's got the glasses and I'm like, this dude is a ripper, so hats off to the Korns and what they've done in the sport. I know there's multiple Korns that race.
Oh yeah.
And to win that is a big deal. Absolutely. Dude, and you can't if you're going to beat Beelan right now in an amateur class with him being around, when we talked about this, around a lot of the big names and putting the work in, that's an accomplishment. It's a big accomplishment.
Well, and I give Landon a lot of credit, and I'll let you jump in there, Brian, as well, but I give Landon a lot of credit because maybe he's got like the Ricky Bobby thing. Like he's a first or last. And that's been the story for a long time with his career. The dude is very often been the fastest guy on the racetrack, or always one of them, but something seems to happen, and he rides very close to the edge and maybe over the edge at times. I don't want to misspeak here, but he's, he can be loose at times, but he's always fast. For him to put together a day there to win pro sport, big deal, deserves tons of praise, and I'm happy for him.
He's a sender. Like he is not afraid of anything. Not only does he like to send jumps, but he's one of the guys. He's like a Janusa. He'll start tricking off of him. I seen him almost kill himself at Pleasure Valley over the finish line jump, just goofing off the one time, trying to do like no footers back and forth, and he's having fun. That's what I like to see. That's one of the biggest things for me when I watch Landon ride that stands out, is he is genuinely having the time of his life out there. And like you said, he's hanging it out. Like, I don't know if there's a safe mode with him, and that's probably, he would be much more successful probably if he would just have like a tone it down button, but the kid doesn't, man. He just sends it. He goes for it. And he loves every minute of it, obviously, because he doesn't stop. He goes out. Like, if you think he's going to back it down because something bad happened this last moto, no way. He's going to go out and send it even harder the next one. So I love it. I love watching him ride.
It's my observation that there is no safe mode.
Not with him.
What I noticed, though, with talking to him and his mom and his dad at the podium, I noticed that the entire family's involved. And when you have the entire family involved, this is a big deal. A lot of them were riders. I think that the brother, the father and the father's brother were both riders.
Yeah. So his uncle.
Yes.
His uncle bought all of my Hondas. Okay,
well, there you go. Yeah.
Bought my whole program. He took my whole Honda program.
Still racing.
Moved it to Kentucky or Illinois.
Yeah. And they're still racing.
Yeah,
he's still racing.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when you have that energy around you, you're not just some kid racing and everybody's just supporting you because they think you're plugged into the sport. No. They're all plugged in.
No, Mike, as you know, maybe like you haven't watched his whole career that closely.
No, I haven't.
Since he's been young little youth rider, and like you said, the dad raced and the whole family. It is a all family, all in, eat, sleep, and breathe it.
Right.
That's the Corn family.
I'm here for it, man. I'm glad to be on that kid's team. But I did want to touch on Paduzdak.
Yes,
I did. I had the opportunity to meet his mom, and I know that he's a big name in this amateur stuff.
Yes, he is.
And I know that you're going to see big things out of him. He's surrounded himself with TDR. I think they've had a couple little speed bumps along the line. We talked about it. I talked about some of the things he was kind of going through. They had an issue with kind of one of my parts, but we talked about it. We think we have it resolved. So moving forward, I think you're going to see more out of him. And I know he's just getting started, and he's going to be on that box like almost all the time. That kid's fast.
I would agree. He was our Digging Deep Rising Star, Dane Mullen Rising Star Award winner last year. Yeah. The thing is, and this is very similar to what we talked about in the pro class, where him and Beeland were always together. And he was kind of the guy on the 250 that had a little bit of a leg up. If I remember correctly, he won like 39 of 42 motos last year or something in the 250 classes. So like he was the guy. What a nice kid too. Like wins this award, so respectful, like respectful beyond his years, all the things, but he's just like to himself, maybe like a little bit and quieter or whatever. But I kind of like that. Like I like quieter, not so boisterous, not about him. He's just about the riding part. And I'm sure about the training part based on his presentation. He's super impressive. I'm a big Siler Paduznak fan. And I think you're exactly
me too.
Right. I think that he's going to be really successful.
Yeah. Me too. I know Timmy is really into it. I know, he's got a lot on irons on his fire, but he definitely wants that kid to be on the best stuff.
I love it. Yeah, he's a very, very likable kid. For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse within the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently deliver increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. I'm excited to announce Valvoline's breakthrough in performance, Valvoline Ultimate Power Sports. With up to 8 times stronger rust protection and 50% better wear protection, this cutting-edge formula ensures your ATV's engine runs smoother and longer for the ultimate ride. Tackle rugged terrains with confidence knowing your ATV's engine is equipped with the best protection available. Ready to experience the next level of performance? Head over to shop.valvolineglobal.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 at checkout to unlock an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Don't miss out on this limited time offer to enhance your ATV's performance with Valvoline's Ultimate Power Sports engine oil.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheeled racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen, plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer. Products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Headlined by the 4130 Chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the #1 choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the Pro Paddock with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit laundervillesteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. With the desire to keep you in the race, Ultimate Poly Products offers the Ultimate Protection Collection of case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Founded on quality in 1998, this family-owned and operated business produces products created by racers for racers. These industry-leading products are proudly made and manufactured in the USA, with their case savers being made of the highest quality American-made polyurethane on the market and designed to completely conform to your engine case to help prevent case damage from a thrown chain, because no one wants to be a spectator on race day. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing products. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com to save on your next order. Ultimate Poly Products, made to last longer so you can ride more. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. Yeah, I love it. Brian, it's your turn here, pal. We got to touch on the WMX stuff. I know Lillian Plaza is a Walsh person as well. She's a Walsh rider. So Lily Plaza comes out, and I know she raced it at Decker's race too, but this is the first official ATV National, makes her debut in the women's pro class WMX. And she's clearly the class of the field, going 1-1 in this one. Brian, the WMX class is your thing here. So I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, I was really excited to see some of the posts that were put out there, and I guess Lily grabbed both hole shots, so she got the MJ5 hole shot awards. It looked like there was a little bit of shuffling in the class. Like, there was a lot of newcomers, so I was really excited to see how they were going to perform and what dynamic that was going to bring and how it was going to mix everyone up, because obviously we have a lot of return girls. I didn't know for sure if Emma was coming back. Like, we had heard rumors that she was going to be at this race.
Same.
So I there was a lot of question marks going into this race, and I didn't know a lot about the new girls. Obviously I've watched Lily come up through the ranks. I know her dad, and, he's always talking her up and hey, did you see her do this? Yeah. And I do, I watch her. I was excited for her to do so well. And I was surprised at the same time, because I didn't know what everybody was going to come into this round, obviously, with. And this is one of those one-off rounds that we're going to have the sand and kind of like what it is, because it doesn't showcase any sort of jumping and speed quite yet. So going into Ironman, I think that's going to be a very interesting race for all of them to kind of feel where they might want to say they belong. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for that. But the first round, like I said, not being there, I still don't know a lot about some of the new girls.
You were right though. There was a lot of shuffling going on, especially that first moto. It seems like everybody was doing this, there's a lot of stuff going on. You talked about there's some additions, and I guess the biggest one has to be the works girl. Lane Fryer ends up going 2-2 on the day, and I didn't know where she was going to fit. So coming into the season, same thing. Didn't know if Emma was going to be in there. It sounded like at least she was going to seemingly do a few of them, but maybe that's not the case anymore.
2, yeah.
I don't want to say I'm not surprised by that, but like being that Kinsey is gone, I know that some of the motivation may be gone just because they were racing each other,
Yeah.
So that was part of that deal. So I was curious what was going to happen with Lane Fryer coming over from the work series, because we already knew Tegan Bratcher was a podium fixture last year. That being said, her and Lily raced in the women's 15 plus class, and Lily got the better of her pretty regularly. So I figured that Lily kind of came in as a favorite, even though she's a rookie. Didn't know where the works girl was going to fit in. And it was, she was clearly the second best rider, but this one was all about Lily, and Fryer and Bratcher finished out the podium. And Joyner is very good. And Cabrando rode awesome. She raced way up through the field, kind of in both motos, ended up finishing in the top 5. But this is and we'll let Mike jump in here. The opener was the Lily Plaza show, and it could be that way the rest of the way. We'll see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, a couple notes. Lily and her dad and her dog, which is really cool. They're trying to give my mom her dog, with his dog, which is a Malamute. The name's Tango. Cool, really cool. But anyways, I did some front end work with them. I know they were a prodigy of Joe Bird. I think they basically, and I didn't know them that well until this off season. And I know that she has a really picky front end setup, which is kind of my settings. She don't like them. So I had to do some special tweaking and squeaking there for her. And I know that she told me that Emma was not coming back unless Kenzie raced.
That would have been my belief as well.
That is what she told me. And I do work with Emma quite frequently, regularly. They are building new Yamahas. They are going to race with the boys in Europe. That's their goal. So I don't think you'll see her over here unless it's freak. Yeah. And, it's just something that she wants to do. And that's a lot. That's a big commitment to come all the way over here just to, know. So I think, and, Europe's really, not to change the subject, but Europe is starting to gain major traction with ATV racing.
They are. They got this European, world championship. The
SAR's over there.
FIM. Yeah, and I don't, and we talked about this, and Brian brought up SAR on the season preview show. I don't fault him for going back there because they're making the world championship a true world championship.
They're doing big things, and the amount of hybrids coming out of there is making me very upset.
You need to get back to work. We keep talking about
it. Well, I actually worked on a Stark today. So I got 2 more Honda Starks coming out of the shop today. But anyways, that's a different subject. But yeah, I like to be competitive. I like to be really competitive when it comes to that stuff. That's my heart. So I don't want anybody getting up on me. But anyways, yeah, no, I see them doing big things in Europe, and I had made mention on the Morning Coffee with Mike show a few times which is just a little funny thing. I just play around with it. But
I love it.
Yeah, just to keep people informed of what I'm doing. But I had to kind of back off on it because I had to get back to work. But anyways.
Hey, Mike, where are my parts?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shut up and get to work.
I figured that's what you would get. Get off of social media and where are my parts?
Right. So
help a brother out.
Right. So anyways, I think she wants to attack that series, and I think she'll do quite well at it. And you can never bet against Emma. Emma's and I never thought Kenzie would win, and that's why I have a ton of respect for that whole operation, because she's obviously fast.
She's fast. Not surprised that Emma was not motivated to come back here if she wasn't going to be racing Kinsey. I was hoping we were going to see another chapter in that battle because it was awesome. I felt like we all lived by that roller coaster last year. I loved every second
was cool.
of it.
That was very intense.
That was cool.
But Emma being such a gnarly competitor too, like, I don't even know that I spoke this to anybody, but internally I was thinking, like, why would she even come back? I mean, to win it if Kinsey isn't there, she's not going to get any high off that. She's not going to get a natural high off doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Credit to Lily Plaza for winning the opener WMX class. Can't wait to see what that looks like going forward. That being said, I got 2 things I want to hit on before we get out of here, because we're already long. So one kind of bridges into what you were just talking about with the Europe stuff and talking about European ATV racing. At what point is it too early to talk about Team USA? Okay. So I actually, it's funny how this works out, but the day that Bryce Ford announced that he was not going to come back and race, I texted Harv and I'm like, so is there going to be a Team USA? Yeah. He goes, yeah, of course there's going to be Team USA, full on, nothing changes. So I'm like, awesome. So we're going to have a brand new team. We know Brandon's been on it once. The easy assumption would be Brandon returns for his second appearance and Max gets a chance to represent the team for the first time. That being said, there are guys, Zach Decker and Mason Jackson, who absolutely have different plans. That's going to be so much fun to watch down the stretch. Like, I love the Team USA thing, and I love the battles for trying to earn your spot. And that's going to be something that's really fun to think about. And we're really early here. It's still March, but it's going to be really fun to think about that as the season goes too.
I don't know if you heard this on the Pro-Am Moto on Sunday. Okay. Mason went live.
Okay.
And he was talking on there. People were talking about his injury and what was going on. And he said he was going to, I think he had to get an MRI done on his knee for whatever had happened.
Okay.
And somebody said something about, well, he'll be at Ironman no matter what. And he was like, damn straight, I'll be racing. I don't care what's going on. So I hope that Mason, does have the opportunity that, like, he can heal up or things aren't as bad as what, everyone may assume or whatnot, that he could definitely compete for that, because that right there is huge to play out for the rest of the year, for that to be an incentive.
Yeah. So Mike, let me ask you, how early is too early to start talking about Team USA?
I think it's about the right time.
Okay.
Right now.
I love it.
Back to Mason, just 1 second. He really needs to protect his legs, and he needs to get in some good knee braces and really take this serious, because he's young. I saw him. I wanted to talk to him, but he's a warrior. And I was talking to Timmy, and I left him be. He had his head hung, and he was not happy. And it was sad, because he is a warrior, and I had high expectations that we talk about on that last show. And everybody does. They know Mason Jackson is fast, but moving forward, he needs to get whatever it is, the MRI. If he needs to get some ligament, I had orthoscopic. I mean, if he needs to get some stuff fixed, let's get it fixed at the end of the season, hopefully. But let's see what we can do to get him through. But obviously, at this point, I would say Zach Decker is looking like he could be the next Bryce Ford.
Mhm.
And I say that because his family is very motivated. I know his mom, his dad, they are all behind him. And it reminds me somewhat of the Fords. And I know that he would love to have that spot. Now, that being said, he's not going to get that spot easily. So, Max has got to stay healthy and he's got to stay focused. And all these kids do, so I'm with you. I think it's a toss up. I mean, obviously we think we know that we'll see Brandon there as Lord willing that, he stays healthy and everything works out. And then that last spot is going to be up for grabs, man. It really is. It's a gunfight out there.
And maybe part of me thinking of Brandon just a touch differently from the other guys, because I don't want to be too much a prisoner of the moment and one round and whatever, but some of it's the expectation. So they came on, him and Jeffrey came on the show and talked about, they want to be competing for wins. So that just changes the evaluation at least a little bit on what they're expecting. I don't know if, Max is the next guy in line, and is Max expecting wins? I don't know yet.
I talked to Max. Listen, Max is here to party, man. He told me, I said something about Joel, and me, I'll never say a negative word about Joel, but he told me, and he said, hey man, I'm if I don't beat him, and I'm like, what? It's like, what? He expects to be there. But
Good.
Here's the deal.
And I love that.
Anybody can sit there on a podcast and say what they expect, but let's look at results. The results are you have all the results, and you say it all the time, and you said 17 podiums, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
That's what talks. Right. That's what talks. So that's why I would consider Brandon in a slightly different league. I'll never go against Max or any of my riders, but
to be frank, I still think of those two the same, but I think maybe the toppest, highest end speed still might be Hoagie.
How many podiums does Max have?
11.
11? Yep. Okay. 11 and 17.
Yep.
So, and he should have had a podium at this one. So that would have been 12. But okay, so they're tight. They're close.
They're close. Yeah.
They're close.
Let me throw something out there, a curve. Just since we're talking out loud, I'm not talking negative on anybody. Obviously, just different case scenarios. What if it's Joel, Max, and Zach? What about that trio? Brandon obviously has the speed. The only weak spot might be is if he finishes the races. The bike. So there's a lot of possibilities out there, and I'm not trying to throw anybody bad juju or nothing. I'm just saying that any one of them could rise to the top.
Lord willing, and everybody finishes every moto.
Yeah,
hey, this is motocross, man. It can change in a quick instant.
Yep.
And I like just even throwing the Team USA stuff out there, not necessarily for debate, but for
motivation.
Well, and to have it on everybody's radar. Hey, it could be your year to go represent Team USA. It's awesome. I love that stuff.
Ristrelli did. I was there when Jeffrey did.
And that's a huge deal.
It is.
That's got to be amazing.
Just the red, white, and blue. The 1, 2, 3.
That feeling
1, 2, 3 this year, but yeah, awesome. I love it. So I can't imagine what it must feel like to pull the red, white, and blue, and wear those numbers, and see those. Have that be your 4-wheeler, man. Represent your country. That's the coolest thing. So that's why I loved touching on it, whatever time of year it is. Okay, last thing we got here. SSI Stamp It segment. We got a month break here. Then we're going to Ironman. And Brian, you had said Ironman might be the true official start of this season, being that Deckers is Deckers, Echeconnee being a sand track. So heading into Ironman, you got to give me this SI Stamp It segment, the statement. What do you got for me for Ironman? What do you expect? What hot take you got? What do you think you're going to see at Ironman?
Well, since I didn't mention Joel, and I guess that's just because.
What else do you say about the guy? We said
I can't say enough about him, and I know everybody's probably sick of hearing about him, but Joel's just awesome. So that's all I got to say. So I expect Joel to go out and be spectacular. Mike got me a little messed up though. I'm concerned now if Max is gonna, back issue can be a nagging, really nasty possible injury, and I don't know how bad it is, and I really hope that that's something that doesn't hinder him. And that he can heal and bounce back really quick from, that it's just something minor, because, Max is on a charge. We can't deny that. Zach, I'm a huge fan of Zach's. Brandon's obviously super fast. So, I'm looking forward to this race because now we've got big hits. We've got big hits and high speed. We got hard pack. We got, backing it in, sliding it around turns. It's going to be some really close wheel racing as a possibility. And I'm excited to see it. And then Mason too, with Mason being a possibly injured. I don't know what's going on there. This is going to be a hard one. I gotta really think about this one to stamp something on.
Well, you started off pretty well by saying Joel's going to be awesome.
Yeah, Joel's going to be awesome. You know what? And once again, I'm going to say I've been pushing the young guns all year long, or all season long so far, and I'm going to do the same thing. Like, I just have so much respect and admiration for Joey and Noah to go out there and do what they're doing and proving themselves and being local boys. To me, that's super impressive, and I'm always rooting for them guys. Yeah, I'm excited though. I'm really excited.
You'll have to confirm if he said this or not. So Billy said that one of the rookies was going to finish in the top 5 this year, which we saw Noah Arnold do in the second moto at the last race.
Yes.
I don't remember if he said one moto or overall, but either way, we'll give it to Noah Arnold for finishing top 5 in the second moto. So that was kind of his thing. So we might have already seen that already with the young guys. So maybe that's what Billy would be saying. He'd be here saying, "Told you so. I stamped it and I was right."
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be an overall. Like, I'm with Billy.
Yeah.
These guys,
we've seen the variants now, and we've seen these guys be close enough that it wouldn't even be a surprise now. If Noah Arnold finishes 5th when he's always 6th, it's not a surprise, which is a credit to Noah Arnold.
Yeah. And if a couple of these guys come in and they're not 100%, that, they're able to kind of outlast them, because he seems to make passes late too. Like, he's not giving up. So there's a good possibility that 4th or 5th, I said before, one thing that I did say that I don't know if Billy said this as well, but I said Joey and Noah seem to be following each other, the shake and bake, tandem, let's go type of thing. So if one gets 4th, the other one's getting 5th. If one gets 3rd, the other one's getting 4th. Like, I think they're going to be right there.
Well, these guys better do it before Nick Janusa comes back for a couple of these races, because he's going to play spoiler.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing him come back and go out there and see what he's got. But I don't know. These guys are no joke, man. They're fast.
Wait, Nick just beat him at D6. He beat Ulrich pretty convincingly.
Okay.
He beat him.
Yeah.
He went 1-1, and it wasn't an issue.
But I would have expected that from Nick.
We got to realize that Nick owns a pretty gnarly facility.
Nick's still riding.
And he's riding all the time. This is what he does. Like, he rides, this is what he's not like training, but he's still heavily behind the bars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's going to be in the mix.
Yeah. I was going to say that. Never know how that plays out. He takes a little break, gets some, speed, comes back and wreaks havoc on these guys.
I love it.
Well, and the pressure's off. He doesn't have to perform.
Exactly.
I was talking to Chad lately, and Chad's like, I'm having the most fun I've had riding in since I can remember, because I have zero pressure. I just go out and I have fun. And Max even told me, he's like, the dude is flying. Like, he's just as fast as he was, so
maybe faster if he's having fun.
And you saw what Max did. Max is running it right down. So, Chad could probably still go out there and get second, I don't want to say that, but but I'm just trying to say that when that pressure's off and you're just riding for fun, Nick could have a stellar day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, I have no doubt. Like, I borderline expect it. Speaking about expecting, so as I stamp it, what do you got for me, Mike? Stamping it for what you expect to see at Ironman.
Oh, Ironman, you know how I'm going. You know how I always go. I'm going Joel, numero uno. I'm going Max, and I'm going Zach.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not putting Mason down, but if I have to put the money right now, Mason hasn't had the best 2 races.
No.
Okay.
No.
I will have him on my podium, but right now I think Max and if Max can just remount from this small little kink in his torso or whatever is going on here, I think he'll pull the number deuce and then we go Zach 3.
I like it. I think you guys got me a little worried because, I wanted to just double down. I hadn't thought too much about my SSI Stamp It thing that I was going to stamp here, but I really wanted to just keep sticking with it. I just was going to keep saying that eventually one of these weekends, Mason Jackson is going to be on the podium because, I'm making a trend of this right now. But you got me a little worried about this leg situation. The thing I will say is Ironman traditionally, these hard pack tracks, Ironman, Muddy Creek, these tracks like this High Point, like these are the tracks where Joel is the very, very best. He always has been. Now that's like easy to say because he's the guy at every racetrack. Doesn't matter what it's like, whatever. He's GOAT conversation. These are the type of racetracks though, where Brandon is the best. Brandon, it brings his best at the hard pack tracks. So
I agree.
I would like to see if there's ever going to be, we saw it at Briarcliff, another great example of where Brandon, I would think he's going to these racetracks thinking about this is my best chance. If he thinks about it that way. That being said, Ironman is inarguably one of Joel's best racetracks. So that part isn't ideal for Brandon. But as I stamp it, maybe I'm going to say Brandon gets a whole shot and he leads for a portion of a moto. I know we saw him lead a lap or two at Echeconnee, but I would like to see it. It'd be fun. I mean, obviously, we want to see some battles at the front. I want to see Joel get challenged a little bit. And I like to see when Joel gets pushed a little bit, what he's able to pull out. We saw that for a moment on Saturday at Echeconnee, and we'll see what these guys have in store for Ironman and beyond. But guys, we can worry about Ironman down the road, but it's been a lot of fun to get together, talk about the racing, talk about Echeconnee, all the things that happened. We went long. We're real long on this one. So I appreciate all your guys' time. I know everybody's so busy. Everybody's got their own agendas, but I appreciate you guys taking a little break from it and coming on my show and talking about the racing and everything that you guys saw and bringing your expertise to it here. So I just want to thank you guys for your time. I love having you both on my show so much. And we always get so many compliments and so many people talking about what we have to say on these shows. And I just appreciate what you guys bring to the shows because it's something that I'm really proud of. So can't thank you guys enough for your time and doing this again with me.
For sure.
Absolutely. I love it, man. I love it. I love what you do for the sport and I love how you do it. Like I said, man, you are the GOAT at this. So I'm proud to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, Cody. We appreciate you doing this, getting the name out there, pushing the sport, into new realms and into, different countries, giving people a platform. So that is big in itself. And, it gives us a platform to come on here and do what we're doing. You got Mike Walsh over there, he's a staple of the sport for a long time. And, we're bench racing with him. So that's really cool.
I said that to my loved ones following the last episode. I'm like, man, how cool is it that I got Mikey Walsh on my show, just chopping it up about the motocross races? Like, I love this stuff. So again, guys,
it's good stuff, man.
I can't thank you enough. Can't wait to do it again. But with that, we'll put a wrap on this one, put a wrap on Echeconnee, put a wrap on round 2 of the pro racing for ATV Motocross. And again, guys, just can't thank you enough for everything and look forward to doing it again.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Cody. I appreciate it. Mike, great hearing from you, hearing your stories, and spending some time with you as well, my friend.
Absolutely, man. I missed you at the race.
Yeah, I'll be at the next one. I don't know when are you coming back? Are you going to be at any more?
I don't know. I will be, but I don't know exactly. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. So, but no, I'm going to try to make some more. Absolutely.
I look forward to it.
Awesome, guys. Thanks again for everything. Have a good night. And for Cody Jansen, Mike Walsh, Brian Jenkins, we are calling it a wrap on our Echeconnee review show here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by SSI Decals. Have a good night, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Good night. Thank you. Bye.
Well, we missed Billy this week, but both Mike and Brian were awesome yet again. Major thanks to both Mike Walsh and Brian Jenkins for joining our show as this week's featured guests. Thanks to producer Dallas Chanson, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to my wife, Brooke, and thanks to AMA officials Harv Whipple and Joe Messina. And thanks to all of our donors. And a special shout out and thank you to Motomom Designs for doing all of our shooting at the races. You're the best, Megan. Thanks to all of our partners, CST Tires. Go to shop.csttires.com today today. Yamaha thanks to Blue Crew, thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, and Ultimate Poly Products. UPP Racing, use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com. Support all the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. Find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear and parts needs and to help us out. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. Shop our Digging Deep merchandise at shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com. Find all things Digging Deep ATV Fantasy related at atvfantasy.com. Shout out to our round 2 winners, Justin Wess, Oliver Saya, my mom Lisa Jansen, Matt Pierce, Marty Purvis, Morgan Nieper, Andy Turner, Dallas Schmidt, and Tyler Roberts. Congrats to those guys. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the show, 920-569-3519. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee buttons. So this allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content coverage and more fun stuff as this 2026 season of ATV Motocross is in full swing. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com. So check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend, please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Mike Walsh, Brian Jenkins, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with more than 298,000 downloads last month in 141 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quadlers are freaking gnarly.